Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we continue reading from Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi-Lila, chapter 7. We have been reading the glories of the Panchatattva, text 40. Vrindavana yaite Prabhu Rahila Kashite Mayavadi Gana Tanre Lagila Nindite. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. While Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through Varanasi on his way to Vrindavan, the Mayavadi sannyasi philosophers blasphemed against him in many ways. While preaching Krishna consciousness with full vigor, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu faced many Mayavadi philosophers. Similarly, we are also facing opposing swamis, yogis, impersonalists, scientists, philosophers, and other mental speculators. And by the grace of Lord Krishna, we successfully defeat all of them without difficulty. Jai. Sannyasi haya kare gayana nachana na kare vedanta path kare sankirtana. The blasphemer said, although a sannyasi, he does not take interest in the study of Vedanta, but instead he always engages in chanting and dancing in Sankirtan. Fortunately or unfortunately, we also meet such Mayavadis who criticize our method of chanting and accuse us of not being interested in study. They do not know that we have translated volumes and volumes of books into English and that the students in our temples regularly study them in the morning, afternoon, and evening. We are writing and printing books, and our students study them and distribute them all over the world. No Mayavadi school can present as many books as we have. Nevertheless, they accuse us of not being fond of study. Such accusations are completely false, but although we study, we do not study the nonsense of the Mayavadis. Mayavadi sannyasis neither chant nor dance. Their technical objection is that the method of chanting and dancing is called Tauryatrika, which indicates that a sannyasi should completely avoid such activities and engage his time in the study of Vedanta. Actually, such men do not understand what is meant by Vedanta. In the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Krishna says, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Lord Krishna is the actual compiler of Vedanta, and whatever he speaks is Vedanta philosophy. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, Lord Chaitanya, he would be criticized by the Mayavadi sannyasis that, hey, you're a sannyasi, you're not studying. You're supposed to be studying Vedanta Sutra, and what you're doing, you're just chanting and dancing like a madman. What are you doing? You should be just studying. So Prabhupada is saying even he used to get this kind of criticism. He's saying, but they don't know that I've translated volumes and volumes of books, And this is the Vedas that we are studying. And what is all the Vedas trying to tell us? What are we supposed to understand by studying the Vedas? That Vedescha sarve aham eva vedyo. That to understand Krishna, that is the goal of studying all the Vedas. To understand Krishna, that he is the absolute truth. So although they are lacking the knowledge of Vedanta presented by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental form of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mayavadis are very proud of their study. Foreseeing the bad effects of their presenting Vedanta philosophy in a perverted way, Srila Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam as a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Srimad Bhagavatam is Bhasyo Yam Brahma Sutranam. In other words, all the Vedanta philosophy in the aphorisms of the Brahma Sutra is thoroughly described in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Vyasadeva. So Vedas was one, but Kali Yuga was approaching, and for our benefit, Srila Vyasadeva segregated into the four Vedas, the Sam, Atharva, Yajur, and Rigved. And then he also wrote a commentary on the Vedas called the Vedanta Sutra. And then this Vedanta Sutra, he wrote a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which is called Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's the reason Srimad Bhagavatam is called the cream of the essence of all Vedic knowledge. So we do not need to read all the Vedas. We just read the Bhagavatam and we are understanding the cream of what the Vedas are trying to tell us. So thus, the factual propounder of Vedanta philosophy is a Krishna-conscious person who always engages in reading and understanding the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and teaching the purport of these books to the entire world. The Mayavadis are very proud of having monopolized the Vedanta philosophy, but devotees have their own commentaries on Vedanta, such as Srimad Bhagavatam, and others written by the Acharyas. The commentary of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas is the Govinda Bhasya. So the Vaishnavas have their own commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, and it's called Govinda Bhashya. Why Govinda Bhashya? Because Govinda ji in Jaipur, the deity, he spoke because Baladev Vidyabhushan, he had to write the commentary in 3 days. And he was like, my dear Lord, how will I write this commentary in 3 days? And Govinda ji told him, okay, you don't worry. You just write. I will tell you what to write. And that's why it's called Govinda Bhasya. So it's not that the Vaishnavas don't have their philosophy or their commentaries. They have the perfect philosophy. The Mayavadi's accusation that devotees do not study Vedanta is false. The Mayavadis do not know that chanting, dancing, and preaching the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam, called Bhagavad Dharma, are the same as studying Vedanta. Since they think that reading Vedanta philosophy is the only function of a sannyasi, they did not find Caitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in such direct study. They criticized the Lord. Shilpa Shankaracharya has given special stress to the study of Vedanta philosophy. Vedanta Vakayeshu Sada Ramantaha Kaupinavantaha Khalu Bhagyavantaha. A sannyasi, accepting the renounced order very strictly and wearing nothing more than a loincloth, should always enjoy the philosophical statements in the Vedanta Sutra. Such a person in the renounced order is to be considered very fortunate. The Mayavadis in Varanasi blasphemed Lord Chaitanya because his behavior did not follow these principles. Lord Chaitanya, however, bestowed his mercy upon these Mayavadi sannyasis and delivered them by means of his Vedanta discourses with Prakashananda Saraswati and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So it's a very beautiful pastime. We will be reading it in the later chapters, that how Lord Chaitanya, he was in Varanasi, and the Varanasi sannyasis were criticizing him that you're not studying the Vedanta Sutra and you're just chanting and dancing. And he has a very good, he converts all these Mayavadi sannyasis into devotees. They all become followers of Lord Chaitanya because the way he explains the Vedanta, they understand that he is the Lord himself, because he's giving such a perfect explanation of the Vedas, of the Vedanta Sutra. And even with his conversation with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, it's very beautiful pastimes. So, did anyone have any questions or comments?
No, it's all clear.
All right. So we'll stop here for today for Chaitanya Caritamrita. Chaitanya Caritamrita ki, Jai Shilpa Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur Bhaktavinda ki, Jai Hare Krishna.